Teaching your horse to back up is probably one of the most important things you can do on the ground, because the better your horse backs up, the better he's going to stop, the more collected he's going to be. And we always want to start that on the ground, because once you get in the saddle, it's a lot harder when you're on top of him and your legs are straddling him. It's harder for him to feel like he can back up through your body. He feels more claustrophobic. So you got to teach him to back up real nicely on the ground, and then start teaching him to back up when you're in the saddle. So I'm going to show you a number of different backing techniques. The first backing technique that I'm going to show you is how to back out of your space. So I'm just going to wiggle the lead rope, use this weighted lead rope, wiggle it, and get him to back out of my space. So you should have to just wiggle it just slightly, and he should back out of your space. And as I wiggle it, I'm going to feed that lead rope through. He should back straight and continue to back up until you stop wiggling. Again, raise my shoulders up, chest out. Then I'm going to wiggle. Now, if he gets heavy and starts to resist me, I'm going to wiggle. I'm going to wave that lead rope more, and I might even jerk down on the lead rope to speed him up. Let me show you that. So let's say he's getting just a tad heavy. Jerk down. Just get more intense with that wave. And even jerk down if you need to. Remember, your horse's intensity is going to match yours. So however fast you want your horse to move should be the intensity in your wiggle. Good boy. Then I lean forward, draw him in. Okay, that's how I like to get my horse to back out of my space. Another way I can get him to back out of my space is just to march. So I'll just march. Now I'm not marching my feet, just my hands. Any kind of movement, marching movement or wiggling movement, anything to get him to understand that he needs to back up. I'll add a cluck to tell him to increase his speed or his intensity. And that's backing out of your space. Now I'm going to show you 4 different ways to back up your horse and go with your horse at the same time. So first I showed you how to back your horse out of your space, and now I'm going to show you what it looks like to back your horse up and go with him. So the first one, I call it wiggle, wave, and walk, and even whack if you need to. So wiggle, wave, walk, whack. So I'm going to wiggle the rope and then start to walk with him. I'm going to wave. So my stick and my lead rope are waving back and forth, and he should continue to move out of my space. I'm going to change directions. If he gets stiff, increase my intensity. And I'm swinging this stick, so if he doesn't get out of my space, he's going to feel it on his shin. He should learn to stay out of my space. And that's what this stick is doing. It's giving me space so that if he doesn't move, he's going to run into it. Good. The next backing technique I like to use is tapping the air and then tapping the rope. So I'm standing in front of him. I'm about a stick length away. Don't come forward. Now I'm going to look at him, lean forward just a little bit, and I'm going to tap the air and then walk with him. If he gets stiff, I'm going to tap the rope. And when I say stiff, I mean resistant to movement. You have to be willing to tap that rope harder, tap it hard enough to make him feel like he needs to do something different. If he's too slow, increase your intensity. Good boy. I'm going to tap the air, start to walk. One more time. Good boy. This backing technique is what I call a marching technique. So I'm going to march like this with my arms, and then I'm going to start to march with my feet, then I'm going to walk forward. If he gets stiff, meaning he's not moving out of my space, I'm going to throw my stick forward and tap him in the chest. If he shows that hip, and he should be going straight back, and he shows the hip, I'm going to look at that hip and bump the lead rope towards that hip. Good boy. Good boy. This last backing technique is what I like to call the ice cream cone backing. Or the ice cream cone backing technique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab under here and grab below the clip. And I'm going to raise that clip up towards his neck or towards his chest. He should start to move off of that. So my goal is to be able to do this really lightly, so when I pick up, I'm not squeezing with my hand. I'm just resting that lead rope in my hand, and he should step back. Now if he doesn't, I'm going to grip that and start to wiggle it, bump down. If he gets stiff, I can bump harder. And worst case, if he gets really stiff, I can use my stick and tap him on the chest or the ribs, like this. Tap right there. But make sure that you start with that light cue of just keeping your hand open and asking him to back. So when I call it the ice cream cone method, because if you have ever held an ice cream cone, you usually hold it like this, and then the ice cream's up here so you can lick the ice cream. So I grab it like that, and that's how I hold it. Then open my hand, pick it towards his neck and chest, and then walk. Good. As your horse improves with his backing techniques, then you can actually increase the distance between the clip and where you're holding that lead rope. So let me just back him up a little further. And then we'll wiggle and wave and walk. And Doolin's not quite ready for this. But more or less, this is how you should be able to actually back your horse up from the very end of your lead rope using any of the techniques. But the further away you are from the halter, the harder it is to manage his feet. So you start in here closer and then work your way further and further away. But the further away he is, the more he's going to ignore what you're asking him to do. You can do the marching. Now when you're marching, you can use the string. So from out here, if he gets resistant, I can drop that string and I can flick that string forward and tap him in the chest. That's pretty good right there. Good boy. Once you teach your horse to back up using those 4 different techniques, you can start using those techniques and do some different maneuvers with your horse. So I was turning him as I was showing you, but you can actually purposefully do different maneuvers, like a circle, for example. You can ask him to back in a circle. So I'm going to use the tapping technique, and I'll look towards the hip. So if I want him to circle to his left, I'm going to look towards that right hip. Now if he turns too tightly, then I'm going to straighten him up a little. If he's not turning enough, I'm going to look harder to his hip. Look more to his hip. If he gets stiff and doesn't get back, tap that lead rope. But you can get big wide circles, you can get small circles, and you can do it with any of these techniques. You can work on figure eights. So instead of making a circle, well, you make one circle and then you just go into another circle the other direction. So I'm going to use the marching technique. Let's do a full circle here. See how I'm looking at his left hip and driving him to the right? So we're making a circle. Pretty good. Now I'm going to look to his right side and make a circle. He's getting a little bit stiff there. To the left. So you can use your stick as pressure, but you can also bump down on that halter. Very good. Another maneuver that I really like to do is when I do the circles, I do the figure eights, and I also do serpentines. So you can do serpentines going forward on the ground, you can do serpentines going backwards on the ground, and you can do the same thing in the saddle. So I like to practice just about everything I do in the saddle on the ground. So I'm going to back him up. Now I'm going to use the wiggle wave technique. So I'm just showing you different techniques. You can use different techniques to do all of these different maneuvers. So we're going straight, now we're going to turn, then go straight, then we're going to turn, turned a little sharply there, now turn, Doolin seems to struggle more with this wiggle wave technique than just about anything else for some reason. Good boy. Another maneuver I like to do when I'm starting backing my horses, well, after I'm backing straight and getting them pretty good at going straight, I'm also going to back them in in a square. So I will, if I'm tapping the air, and remember you can use all of the different techniques to back them in these different patterns. So I'm going to use the tapping. So he's backing up. Now I'm going to do a square. So now I'm going to basically point, yield his forequarters, get his forequarters to move over, and then go straight. Point. Now go straight. I can do the same thing with marching. So I'm marching and kind of look at his hip, point. So I'm just making a dramatic change of angle. So I'm pointing and now go straight. Good. Go in a square the other way. I can also, typically I like to, when I'm first teaching them to do the square, I like to, if I'm going to move his shoulders to his right, I'm going to have my lead rope in my left hand so I can kind of guide his shoulders to the right. Or if I'm going to lead his shoulders to the left and we're backing to the right, I'm going to have the lead rope in my right hand. So I'm just going to back him up. So this is a wiggle wave walk, whack, now point. You just change dramatically. Now, all the squares aren't going to be perfect. Good. Point. And now go straight. The goal to any of these patterns is just to get your horse to respond in a more complicated manner. So at first I'm going to try to get him to go straight, and then I'm going to start turning him, changing angles, changing directions, and just getting him to listen to me with whatever method I'm using, get him to listen to me and respond that way. And the more responsive he is on the ground, the more responsive he's going to be in the saddle.